Tonight, we're going to have sweet potato shepherd's pie.
To open it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hi everybody, this is Elizabeth with Live Simple, Live Free. And I'm going to show you how I make a recipe that's actually autoimmune protocol, the AIP protocol paleo. It's actually okay on that diet, and it's a shepherd's pie, but since I can't use white regular potatoes, I'm going to use sweet potatoes. And I'm going to actually have Bill cut them up for me. Now, I could be using my Thrive Life freeze-dried sweet potatoes, but for this one tonight, I'm going to use just some big old regular sweet potatoes. And I'm also growing them, in my garden. They're actually growing really well, but it'll be a while before I can harvest them. So I don't peel them. I'm going to wash them, and then Bill's going to cut them in big, big chunks, and I'll boil them, and then I'll show you how easy it is to actually be able to peel a big old sweet potato after it's cooked. And that has just turned out to be a better way to do it.
I got drafted. And there were a couple of bad ends, so I just cut that off.
By the way, that is a very strong tempered glass cutting board.
So I just cut them in big chunks like that, right?
Yeah, well, since you're doing it.
You want them quartered again.
Yeah, since you're doing it. I cut, if I have to do it, the other day, I wanted to make some, and I'm not strong enough. My hands aren't strong enough for that. So I just cooked them whole. It took a little bit longer, but it worked just fine. But I got Mr. Muscles here helping now. I'm cooking quite a bit of sweet potato because I want it to be able to cover the top of the shepherd's pie. I'm grateful for sweet potatoes. I also like having a big strong cleaver like that. I think it's safer. You can see how he can just put his hand on the top. What are you laughing at?
A big strong cleaver? I thought you were going to say a big strong man or a big strong husband, and you said a big strong cleaver. Thanks.
Well,
Beaver cleaver?
So, anyway, yeah, I mean a big strong knife like that, because you see how he's putting his hand safely on the top, and it's a rounded edge, and it just works really well. I can even use that on a few things, but my skin has a rough time with potatoes of any sort, and also sweet potatoes are particularly, strong, tough to cut. Okay, we're gonna put some water in.
Almost every video, somebody says something about, I can't believe you're using water from the spigot. This is well water. It's wonderful water. No chemicals, no chlorine, nothing like that.
And we have a good well, thank the Lord. So we're going to get those boiling. Thank you.
Yep.
So I've got 4 pretty good sized sweet potatoes that are boiling now on the stove. I want enough that I can really cover the top of the pie with it. So we cooked 4 big good sized ones. All right, I'm going to now just take advantage of my Thrive Life in a very handy way to go ahead and put the rest of my shepherd's pie together. Now, shepherd's pie can be made with all sorts of different things, but I always feel like that one of the things you want in there besides a really good source of meat is definitely got to be mushrooms, some onions, some garlic, and then people often use green beans and peas. Well, I can't eat them, so I'm going to put in some spinach and some carrots, and it'll be good. And then I'll show you kind of how I create a kind of a gravy that I can have on the autoimmune protocol, the AIP. All right, I've got some shredded beef here. I decided that I wanted to use the shredded beef in this one rather than using like the hamburger or something like that. I love this stuff. Now, what I'm going to be doing, oh, I can look at how beautiful that is. And it's just meat. But I'm going to put 2 cups in here. And I'm deliberately making sure I'm getting some of the powderier parts of it, some of it that's kind of crumbled down a little bit, and a little tiny bit more of just the real powdery stuff. Okay, that helps me. I just startled Leo. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, what are you doing, Katie? He's been jumping straight up in the air. What is it, huh? Now he acts all calm. Anyway, this, if we look in here, there's the meat. I got some of the meat in there, but there's this powdery kind of stuff. That's just pure roast beef, and it's going to help me set up a wonderful broth gravy for it. Now I'm going to put in some of my all-time favorite ingredient. We just opened this up, and once again, I've said it before, but I wish we had smell-o-vision. You don't believe how good that smells. I want to show you something. A lot of times people ask us, is there salt? Is there other added ingredients and stuff in all of this food? And this has been, of course, freeze-dried. Piece of mushroom there. But let me show you the ingredients in here. All it has in there is mushrooms. So I'm going to take one of these, and mushrooms just make this dish as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to put in a good, really healthy cupful. I had the wrong measuring cup. Anyway, yeah, about at least a good cupful of the mushrooms, and about 2 cups of the meat. This will make good leftovers, and which is great for me for a really good lunch. Okay, these are the chopped onions. Now, these onions happen to be dehydrated rather than freeze-dried, but they're wonderful, and they last really well. Once again, that smell. And they cook really nicely when I want just a real good flavor of onion in my food. So I'm going to put in this whole big thing about a 1/4 cup. And that'll flavor that up beautifully. Now I've got some garlic powder here, and I'm just going to put in, I don't know, what is that going to be? A good teaspoonful? I'm sort of a put it in as I go cook, but probably a good teaspoonful of garlic. Okay, now that's my meat, my onions, my garlic and mushrooms. Now I'm going to put in some spinach. Bill and I absolutely love this spinach. So, and once again, the only ingredient in here is spinach. Yep. I'm going to put in a good, well, 1.5 cups of spinach. I learned to really enjoy putting green things like that, like kale and spinach, just into things that are kind of like casseroles. Okay, and I'm going to put some carrots in. I've even sometimes put the butternut squash in here, even though it's topped with sweet potatoes. It's just all good, healthy vegetables. Now, the carrots, I've mentioned this before, but for some reason, when you freeze-dry carrots, they turn white. And it doesn't hurt them, but people have a hard time accepting white carrots. So these are dehydrated, but they have a very rich, good, strong flavor.
Dehydrated rather than freeze-dried.
Rather than freeze-dried, yeah.
There's only 2 or 3 items that thrive dehydrates instead of freeze-drying.
Yep. And like with the onions, they have freeze-dried and dehydrated. Or with the potatoes, you can have freeze-dried or dehydrated, but with carrots, it's dehydrated. But they're still awfully easy to use, that's for sure. Okay, so I've got some garlic in there, onions and mushrooms and my meat, and spinach and carrots. All right, I'm going to put some of this good well water in here. And then I'm going to let this start like heating up and getting refreshed, or all the water back into it again. And then I'll show you how I can kind of flavor it up. And this will be the basis then underneath the sweet potatoes to make my version of a shepherd's pie. Alrighty, I'm going to start heating this. Whoops. Oh, glad I figured out that was the wrong one. I'm going to start heating this a little bit. And it doesn't have to cook. I just want it to be hot when I put it together. And a little bit of heat helps it to get really refreshed a little faster. I could probably just let it sit and just soak and then just put it in the pan as long as I wanted to have enough baking time to really heat it up. Alright, get my lid. And there we go. You notice I haven't put any salt yet. I will be doing that, but I'm going to do that just a little bit later. I'm going to kind of test it first. Alright, now my sweet potatoes are done, and my mixture now is very well heated and it's all been rehydrated. I'm going to go ahead and set my oven for 350 and get that preheating. And first of all, I'm going to show you kind of what I'm going to do with my mixture, and then I'll show you how I'm going to do my sweet potatoes. So I have a little dish here. I love this thing. It's got a nice tight lid. And I am going to take some arrowroot flour, which I'm allowed to use. And I'm going to put some arrowroot flour, and then I will, and by the way, these lids are wonderful because this is hot, but this doesn't get hot. So I know somebody will be asking me about that. It's not hot. Okay. All right, now before I put in arrowroot flour, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of things. I have learned to really appreciate something, the coconut aminos, and it has this really nice, kind of what a soy sauce would do, or a Worcestershire sauce, kind of an umami flavor, and it is going to help me to build the broth a little bit more. And I've also going to have a great flavor in here already from the little dusty, they're not dusty, but you know, the little pieces of the roast beef, which is going to be flavoring it really naturally with the actual meat. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of the coconut aminos in there. And like I said, it's kind of, a little bit like soy sauce, but I can't have soy, so I've learned to appreciate these a lot. This is probably going to be like a good, nice tablespoonful that I'll put in there. Might put a little bit more. Looks like I need to get some more. There we go. I've got a little health food store here that I can usually find this at. But you can often find coconut aminos in regular grocery stores. And then I'm going to add, this may sound kind of crazy, and I'm not sure Bill realizes how much I use this, but anyway, this is actual fish sauce.
Fish sauce, isn't that what you just put on the garden to fertilize it?
Oh, that was, yeah, I just put some really good organic fertilizer on the garden. Oh, it was like, it's got to be wonderfully organic because it was so nasty, but it's good stuff. But it's like they just took fish and put them in a bucket and came back 2 years later. But no, this is nothing like that. Although my garden seems very happy with it. Alrighty, this is it's just fish sauce, and this I don't want to use too much of. But once again, it's amazing. You don't want to use too much, but it will give it just a nice tablespoon there. It just gives a kind of a nice flavor. I'm learning to appreciate mixing things like that in. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead. I've got some Himalayan pink sea salt. It's Himalayan pink salt. It actually eventually started out coming from an ocean a long time ago.
Himalayan sea salt?
Yeah.
What you said?
I know, there's no sea. There used to apparently be a sea because the Himalayas have a lot of the salt. But I'm going to put probably a good, about a teaspoonful. I don't want to oversalt it, but I think that should be a good amount. And I'll get some pepper. Excuse me a second. And you notice I'm putting that in here. There we go. Thank you. And I'm going to put in some parsley. That's right here. There it is. My parsley in the garden's growing really well too. I'm excited about that. And some parsley. Probably about a good tablespoon. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to get my arrowroot. Yep, this is arrowroot. I can use cassava, I can use arrowroot, I can use tapioca. There's different things like that that are fine because they're made out of root vegetables. And so I can use them. Now arrowroot and the tapioca, they tend to make a sort of a cornstarchiness. It's a kind of a clear, it can be kind of almost goopy if you have just nothing but that. In something like this, it'll just thicken it really nicely. The cassava actually forms a more of a opaque, floury kind of a thing, and it can work pretty well for like breading something. I just have to realize it's going to have a little bit of a cassava flavor. But the arrowroot has very little flavor of its own. Now I'm going to crank my heat back up and get this boiling again. And I'm going to put in just a couple of heaping tablespoons full here. I just used an actual tablespoon and kind of heaped it in there. These new containers are so cool. They're Velcro. And so it's super easy to seal them back up again. And it doesn't matter if a little tiny bit of the flour gets there. I really appreciate that. Okay, now, got a nice mixture. Yep, my liquid here is starting to boil again a little bit. Alright, I'm going to put, now I don't want to use hot water because if I try to shake it, it'll pop. So I'm going to use cool water. It mixes better that way anyway. Just going to dump some water in. Don't need a whole lot, but I want to make sure I can make a really nice, roux. And I know I see people stir this in successfully, but I like to shake it because that way I know I'm not going to have lumps. And then it's very important that you have a boiling mixture that you pour it into. And I've let this get cooked down enough, adding a little bit more liquid. It should just thicken into a pretty nice gravy. Now remember, I've got a little bit of flavoring in here from things like the coconut aminos, the fish sauce, but I've also got a lot of just that meat is flavoring it. Okay, now see that just mixes up. No lumps. It works so well. And I've got bubbles coming up now. Excellent. So let me just stir this in. And kind of like with cornstarch, it'll thicken just about immediately. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, goodness, that's beautiful. I can turn the heat right back off again. Make sure I don't get anything on the... There we go. Now, look at how gorgeous that is. It's just a nice, rich gravy with the meat, the veggies. Let me just test this real quick. A little bit of salt. Alright, I am going to add a little bit more salt, and let me see here. I'm just trying to give it just a nice base here. It needs a little bit more salt, and I'm just going to just sprinkle some on. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit more garlic. Now I'm not going to shake the garlic out over the... There's like a good teaspoonful. Alright, I'm going to scrape that off and get it in there. Alright. And of course, just, flavor things. I mean, you can certainly use like beef bouillon, some kind of a beef base. There we are. Okay, let me just try. Taste the meat. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes you just need a teeny bit more seasoning. That's good. Now I have my 9x13 baking dish. And like I said, these pans are wonderful because the handles are not hot at all. I'm just going to put that in here. And I will start getting my sweet potatoes all ready to go on top. Okay, there we go. Okay, my sweet potatoes are nice and tender. If you stab through the skin, then they stay together and you can put them up in a big bowl like this. And I'll show you what I'm going to do to make it easy work of getting these skins off of these sweet potatoes. The skins are sliding off so much that I've discovered that using a spoon is helping me get the last of this a lot more easily. It seems like so much sweet potato, but by the time I spread it over the top, it's not going to be too much. I have steamed up glasses. I'm going to put some cold water on these. Now they're big, thick pieces. That little bit of cold water is going to help me get them peeled, but the insides are still going to stay amazingly warm. No problem. All right, then I bring them over here, and I have another bowl here all ready to go. You can see some of this peels have already just fallen off. Okay, I reach into this nice cool water. Look at this. See, nice chunk of sweet potato. And then I watch out. I've got a knife here. I might have to occasionally do a little bit of trimming. No big deal. Wow, it's so easy. Especially when you cut some pieces like this, the peels just leap off. A little bit of a trim there. It's so easy. Okay. Now sometimes I cook really small ones and all I have to do is just trim the end off and just hold them above the bowl and they slide right out of the skin. Kind of like, let me trim this a little bit. I'll show you. It's pretty cool. Just kind of like that. And off goes the skin and they're good to go. I used to watch Bill's mom do this with white potatoes when she was making potato salad. I always thought she must have asbestos hands, but I understand now that the outside cools off quite a bit, and the inside, as long as you don't handle them for too long, the inside has stayed quite nice and hot. Okay, I'm almost done. Boy, that's an easy, fast way to peel sweet potatoes. My goodness. And once they're cooked, I don't have as much trouble with them hurting my skin. There's something about the surface of a potato that tends to be rough on my psoriasis, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. Of a raw potato, not a cooked one. So, all right, I mash the sweet potatoes up. And put a little bit of coconut milk in there that I can have. There we go. And this is the salt, garlic, pepper mixture that I got with my Live Ha'olam that I talked about in a recent video. They came from Israel, from the Dead Sea. I'm going to put some of that salt in here. It's really good. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of pepper. Good. All right, let me get this all mixed up. Now, of course, if you don't have to be AIP, put in butter. You know, put in milk, whatever, however you want to do it. Bill has talked a lot about what a shame it is that a lot of times the only time people ever have sweet potatoes, they've filled it full of brown sugar and even marshmallows, which I know that's Thanksgiving yumminess. But a lot of times people don't realize just what a wonderful, wonderful flavor sweet potatoes have all on their own. They're really, really wonderful. And I'm very excited that I'm growing them. I got, I think, 12 plants out there that are growing and doing really well. Sounds like a horse galloping. When you're ready. Okay, you ready? Okay. I have learned with mashers like this that if I clean them, rinse them off really quickly, it immediately saves me a lot of trouble later. I should be able to dry that and put it right away. Washing things immediately sometimes is super helpful. Alrighty, now this goes on top, just like your usual shepherd's pie, just kind of on top here. Nice big blops. And of course, if I could, you better believe, I would be sprinkling a bunch of cheese on top of this. That's another thing you can, of course, always do with a shepherd pie. If you can have the cheese, boy, it is so good. Alrighty. Just gently putting it on there and then smoothing it over. See, those four great big sweet potatoes don't make all that much really. It's going to be enough to put a nice cover in here, but those four big ones were, you know, not too much at all. Okay, now I'm going to get my initial covering done here, and then I'll fill in little spots that need it, like right there, and right here. Kind of as close to the edge as I can get it. I might have been able to even use another great big old sweet potato, but this is going to be fine. Okay, gonna go in the oven, and I'm gonna leave it in there. I'm probably gonna check it after 20 minutes, but I'm probably gonna want to give it a half an hour. All right, I'm gonna set my timer. I checked it after about 20 minutes, and you know what? I think I made the bottom part a little too liquidy. You know, you have to kind of just sometimes pay more attention to stuff like that. But anyway, it's a little too liquidy, so I cooked it like another 15 minutes, which made it 35 altogether. It's still going to be really good, but I probably should have made a little bit less fluid in the bottom or thickened it up a little bit more. But it's still going to work fine. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so you can see the liquid there, but once it scoops up, I think it's going to be good. All right, got to be honest. I took the one that I just made out of the oven, and I had made it too liquidy, and the sweet potatoes sort of sunk down into it. And so we actually went ahead and had it for supper, and it tasted good, but it didn't quite look the way I really wanted it to. So I have made another one. This one's a little bit smaller, but I made the bottom part of it much, much thicker. And now the sweet potatoes have been sitting right on top like they're supposed to. And just to let you know, if you're ever making something like that and you realize it's too thin, which I did not, and now I definitely realize, but if you realize that, just cook it longer and it'll reduce down and it'll become thicker again like it's supposed to. So this one I just allowed to become much, much thicker, and then I did thicken it with a little bit of the arrowroot flour, and then pile the sweet potatoes right on top. So this has now been in the oven at 350 for a little over half an hour. Well, that looks pretty good. It bubbled up just a little bit on it, but that gravy looks really good.
Okay.
So let's dish some up here. Oh yeah, see, this is staying together much more solidly. And the bottom is just richer and thicker. There we go. Now, I grew up making shepherd's pie with beef and mushroom soup and mushrooms and onion and peas, and then regular potatoes on top mashed with cheese, and it's delicious. But I can't eat a lot of that stuff now. So with the meat and the mushrooms and the sweet potatoes, it actually is quite good. I'm going to let hubby have the first bite here.
All right, let's give this a try. Still hot from the oven.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very good. The first one she made, we ate, but it was kind of like shepherd's soup. This is shepherd's pie with sweet potato, and it's really very good. So, you know, the only thing that was not Thrive Life here was the sweet potatoes. Everything else was 100% Thrive Life.
Except for maybe garlic.
Garlic, couple of spices.
My arrowroot powder. Something
And
like that.
a lot of people have a lot of questions about the health of it. You know, the salt content, is it really nutritious, that sort of thing. There's nothing added, like we showed you a couple times. There's absolutely nothing added. There's no salt added, no carbs added, no MSG or chemicals added, no preservatives, nothing like that. And so it's safe for anyone who has specific issues, like, you know, can't eat salt or that sort of thing. So we've actually done a video about the nutrition of it, and I'll put a link down below about the nutrition of Thrive Life if you're interested in that.
The roast beef has a tiny bit of salt.
Right.
I think they kind of have to do that with meat.
Yeah,
But that's the only thing.
a few of the meats have a little bit of salt, but none of the fruits, none of the vegetables have anything in them at all. So, really good, dear. Thank you.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
So thank you, Lord God, for your many blessings, and thank you for your love, and thank you for this food and for your provision. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, I got to try it now. I think by making it a little thicker, I'm making a richer gravy. You know, I just think it came out much better.
Although the other one was good too, you just had to eat it with a spoon.
Right? It still tasted good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little thicker and easier with a fork. So, well, guys, thanks for coming along with me when I was making this dish. This is all okay on my autoimmune protocol, and it's really quite good. And I'm enjoying it. I'm thankful for sweet potatoes since I can't have regular potatoes. So, all right.
So thanks for watching, everybody.
Live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yep. We love you. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Next time.
Ready? Okay. Tonight, why am I weird? Okay. I do this all the time. Tonight, we are going to have sweet potato shepherd pie. Blah, blah, blah. Tonight, I feel like that little gecko on that commercial. Okay. Tonight, we are going to have sweet potato shepherd's pie.
Melissa Wethington says, storing Thrive is the best option for us since my husband has high blood pressure. Those other packaged meals have a ton of sodium. Hey guys, I just wanted to say I caught one of your YouTube videos, the rocket stove one, and I saw you cooking with the Thrive Life food. I went ahead and tried it because I just bought from another company that offers survival food, and it was pretty crappy. A lot of the meals were just pasta and pancake mix. After your video, it really clicked with me that I can still prepare a meal. It doesn't have to be a pre-packaged meal. Thanks for showing me the smart way. Nathan.